Can the Bengals afford Tee Higgins after the Cooper Kupp deal? We'll also talk about if Tee Higgins is a number one receiver. This coming up next on the Cincinnati podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
How do you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time, man. Yeah. Shock the world.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. He is my co-host, Zim Hude. Zim, say what's up.
I'm unmuted. Hello, world. How's everybody doing today? I'm out here just having a cocktail midday. Well, guess evening time. I got the sun in the backdrop, live from the woods. I was out there chilling with the deer not too long ago. We were having a sandwich. Kenny Pickett made it for us. It's lit. We got a lot going on. Jets think the reincarnation of Joe Namath is out here. I met Joe Namath's grandson out here that's repping out here telling us he's going to shock the world and all this craziness going on today. So same old.
It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy that a team that has not made the playoffs since Carson Palmer was our quarterback is talking trash to us. It's kind of wild. But we're so excited to bring you another great show tonight. We saw that Cooper Kupp got his money yesterday in a record-breaking deal, and we'll discuss the ramifications that could have on the Bengals retaining their star receivers in the coming years. Then we'll talk about whether or not Tee Higgins is a top 10 receiver. Is he a Batman or is he a Robin? Let's talk about that. And then we will continue to break down the 2022 Bengals schedule. And today we're going to actually focus on the Cowboys, who we play week 2. All that and more on the Wincinnati podcast. All right, Zim. Cooper Kupp signed a 3-year, $80 million extension. We seem to have to talk about this anytime that a receiver ends up signing a new contract. But what does that contract do in terms of affecting Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase?
I think it resets the bar again, where we're going into this conversation of the guaranteed money. One that we know that the Brown family is not in favor of, and most owners aren't. So now that conversation gets brought up again. I think the annual per based off of Cooper Kupp's astronomical season is well warranted. If you're a Rams fan, you're probably banking on him replicating that and doing it at least a couple more times, right? So it's definitely well deserved, and I think he had one of the greatest seasons in wide receiver history. So I feel like that's warranted. I don't think it changes what we knew already. Is Jamar Chase is going to be the highest paid wide receiver. I think the Mike Williams deal is more comparable to what Tee Higgins would get. I don't think he's in Cooper Kupp range. I just think the guaranteed money is maybe more so the talking point. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right. When it comes to Tee Higgins, I'm not saying that he can't be better than Cooper Kupp, because I think that he does have the potential to reach that level, right? But I think if you're going off of past production right now, with Cooper Kupp having a 1,900-yard season, I don't think that that's the comp, I think, for Tee Higgins. I think it's the comp for possibly Jamar Chase, because he was in that top 5 from a performance standpoint last season. But if T is able to come out and have a season like that, sure, I think it's up for grabs. But right now, I don't think that that's really the benchmark. I tend to agree with you that the benchmark for him is probably that Mike Williams area, a little bit over there. Then you also had other contracts that were done as well with Tyreek Hill and guys like that. So this is just a resetting at the top. Which I'm not saying Tee Higgins can't end up the top paid receiver, but I think right now that's all we're looking at for now. I'm not sure in terms of what the details are on the guaranteed money, because that's really what it comes down to, right? Average salary is one thing, guaranteed money is another, but obviously it does affect Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins, but not, I think, with a huge impact, because these aren't guys that they were drafted next to or anything like that. Typically, it'll be the Chase Claypools and stuff like that that will affect what Tee Higgins gets. And for Jamar Chase, obviously, that would be the Devontae Parkers, the Jalen Waddles, those guys that would affect that. So, yeah, I don't think that it affects them that much. But the next topic is Tee Higgins a top 10 receiver? I think I've been on record numerous times saying that. I really feel like he is. Like, when you look at it from a surface level of just stats, he's like right outside of the top 10. And then you have to remember with context that he missed a couple of games this season, a couple of games last season. At some points, he wasn't even a focal point and still ended up doing his thing. So I feel like Tee Higgins, if you're talking about from a talent standpoint, he is. I've seen him cook up guys like Denzel Ward. I've seen him make plays and cook up guys like Jalen Ramsey. I think that's what top 10 receivers do. I don't think a lot of guys in the top 10 could honestly say that they've done that. And then he had a 200-yard game against the Ravens last year coming off of an injury. Not to forget, he played those games with an injury to his shoulder. Like, a lot of people forget about that from last season. So, yes, I think Tee Higgins is ascending, and that was one of my biggest takeaways from the Super Bowl is, hey, yes, the Bengals lost this game, but look at what those two guys did to a guy that's supposed to be the number one corner in the NFL. And they're going to be coming for the rest of the league next year. And this is a contract season for him. So, yeah, I think he's going to be top 10 into this season. What's your opinion on that?
I think right now, as it stands, he's fringe top 10. One of the things that I've been hearing from a conversation standpoint is, and I hate it, is that he's the sidekick to Jamar Chase or whatever, which is so ludicrous. Like, the Bengals, I want everybody to understand what they did. They already had a number one wide receiver, and they just went to the draft and got another number one wide receiver. As we're explaining this to our ops every single day, they're like, oh, it doesn't make sense to them because it doesn't happen often. Usually when you get two wide receivers at this talent level, I would even say Tyler Boyd is in the conversation too of like his greatness for what he does. But let's be honest, Tee Higgins, Jamar Chase, younger, stronger, faster, bigger, all of these different things. But the thing that really like messes me up is that in hypothetical world, we'll never know what Tee Higgins would do without Jamar Chase at this age. We'll never know that. But people
I think we do though because of what he did his rookie season, right? Like he didn't have Jamar Chase last year.
That was his rookie season, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that he was moving up. Now, as we get into his second, third, fourth season, the conversation is always going to be like, okay, well, he wouldn't be this without Jamar Chase, and that's totally false. And I think one of these seasons coming up, it might not be this upcoming season. I think one of these seasons coming up, Tee Higgins will outperform Jamar Chase. And then I think people will start to pay attention a little bit more. But I think because now Jamar Chase is just everybody's cup of tea right now, they just automatically assume you couldn't possibly have two number ones. But a great activity to do is name me your top 10. When you get to number 8 or so, there's not that like there's an argument for Tee Higgins starting over that person every single time. And that is the conversation that we've been having with people every day. And sure enough, Tee Higgins' father comes on. Shout out to my man Game on Twitter Spaces. Tee Higgins' father comes in and says 100%, yeah, he is a top 10 wide receiver. Naturally, that's his dad, right? But one of the things that I think is like guys like a Deebo Samuel, I feel like are top 10. But how long they've been top 10? We just talked about it backstage. Before this past season, 300-something yards. We're talking about Tee Higgins, a guy that wasn't starting at the beginning of his rookie year, had Brandon Allen and Ryan Finley throwing to him, and still got close to 1,000 yards. Then comes back his second season, torn labrum, still comes back and has 1,000 yards, same Baker Mayfield injury, but just played through it since week 2. Still delivered, did everything he's got to do. The one thing that we'll never know is Tee Higgins on a terrible team getting spoon-fed 10 targets per game. That's not going to happen. Last year, it was 7.5 targets a game. So we'll never really know. That's what I mean in that aspect. There's so many weapons on the Bengals team.
And that's because we have so many receivers. I would argue that we have 3 number ones. If you're talking about looking across the league, I think Tyler Boyd could be a number 1 on a bunch of teams. The Ravens, I think he could be a number 1 on the Jags. Like there's plenty of teams out there where each of these guys could be the number 1. I think, like you said, it's pretty ridiculous. And I feel like some of it is them trying to pit them against each other. Like, oh, who's the number 1? And we had this conversation plenty of times last year. I think all of them essentially are number 1s. Wherever Tee Higgins lines up, he's going to be a threat. So, and that's what makes them so dangerous, right? Because all 3 of them have the potential to be a number 1 receiver. Don't sleep on Tyler Boyd. Like, let's talk about the years before that, before Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase were here, he obviously was like our number one, right? On the low,
Right.
even with AJ being here, he was a guy that was super consistent in terms of that. So I think
Right.
personally for me, I think he is a number one on most NFL teams. I think you'd be hard pressed to really find a team where he wouldn't be that. But I understand what people's thinking is, but I honestly, I just think that they don't really watch the Bengals, or they really don't watch Tee Higgins like that.
What you'll get is that you'll get 7-8 guys at 100%. There's no argument for me, no quarrel with that, right? But then once you get past that, you'll have a dilemma of, do I want to take this young guy like a Terry McLaurin over him, or do I want to take a guy that's a little bit older in the tooth, like a Keenan Allen or somebody like that, and say that I think that Tee Higgins, and we're splitting hairs at that point, and that's why I think he's like French top 10. Just a person that I want to bring up, CeeDee Lamb gets brought up a lot with Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins last year, 74 receptions, 1,091 yards, 14.7 yards per, 6 touchdowns, 10 yards per attempt. CeeDee Lamb, 79 receptions, 1,100 yards, not going same amount of touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb played in 2 more games than Tee Higgins, and like I said, Tee Higgins with the torn labrum. So there's guys that are considered number one by the whole entire NFL community that aren't producing at the same level as Tee Higgins. I think most people will put CeeDee Lamb in their top 10, top 15, and that's a guy, Tee Higgins, that has outperformed him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think T is definitely a monster, but there's some other guys at the receiver position that are still out there. There's some veteran free agents out there. Do you think that there's any that the Bengals can target? We got OBJ out there, Will Fuller, Julio, Cole Beasley. Is there anyone that you've got your eye on in particular?
Give me Will Fuller, right? And I'll ask you, what's your ring size? What's your ring size? Give me Will Fuller. It's a ring. I mean, honestly, that's a cheat code. I don't even think that's being fair. I know our opposition will downplay that. Give me a Will Fuller type talent. Give me that. I promise you. I think Will Fuller, though, what he can do. I know that he had the stuff last season with, I don't know I don't know if it was Roy's or whatever the hell. I don't know what the hell it was, right?
Right.
But given that, 28 years old, I believe still, 26, 28, something like that. He's still a guy that I think is going to get paid a good amount of money. Whereas OBJ is another guy that I think will be a good option too. But the only thing with OBJ is that he doesn't contribute to anything on your special teams. I think Will Fuller, you don't need him to contribute anything on your special teams. That's now a deep threat that just changes everything on your, oh my God. Like, you got to respect that down the field. Jamar Chase, wide open. Like, there is nothing. The NFL has never seen anything like that. If I see something go across my screen that goes da-na-na, da-na-na, and Will Fuller is under $3 million or something like that, I will run to Paul Brown Stadium and punch someone in the face. Like,
yeah, I think
that's a ring.
I think Will Fuller is a possibility, and I'll say that because of this. Number one, he's been on the market. He is here after the draft. People are in camp now, so you don't really have much leverage. But I remember Lapp saying that Will Fuller was a target that they had back in the day. So, depending on if he wants to join a Super Bowl contender and just kind of play for a ring, have a minimal role, sure, I would love to have Will Fuller here. I think his issue has always been staying healthy. I worry about that in the AFC North because it is physical. But sure, I think if Will Fuller, if you sign him up and add him at a premium, like Zim is saying, $2 or $3 million for 1 year, sure, I'd do it. Would you entertain John Ross though? Would you entertain bringing back John Ross, or do you think that the bridges are burned with the coaching staff for their opinion on him?
The coaching staff is not even a thing; it's the fans. The moment or anything like that, the fans will be all over them. You know me, I'll dance with, I'll dance. So if 4-2, I got the 4-2-2 chain, so I can put that bad back. I can put it back on there. We could get right back into it real quick. So if John Ross were to come in, there's a spot for him. I just don't think, based off of what I know, the lack of dog in him, I just don't think that he offers you that much more than what a Puka Williams or Kwame Lassiter does at this point in his career. Now that he's probably considered by all of us, including myself, a bust.
Yeah, and for me, Julio Jones just too old. I think we've learned as Bengals fans the last couple of years, especially hanging on to some of our older players. That's no shot at any former player, but we've learned that sometimes once that peak hits, it's generally a downtrend once they hit that 30 piece and it's around there. I think Julio now approaching his mid 30s is likely there. But next, we'll talk about Adam Rank's season prediction. So he's changing his tune. He's got the Bengals going 11-6. He picked them to have 4 wins a year ago. It's changed a little. You done changed up a little bit, Adam. Looks like you learned something last year, buddy. Zim, what are your thoughts on his 11-6 prediction? Is it spot on? Is there something that you don't really agree with, or is he, on point?
I think the 11-6 is really good. I'm not mad at that at all. I thought some of the losses that are on there are a little questionable, but I like the hot win streak that he's got listed on here. That's not a problem. But you know me, I'm not a big schedule guy. I probably turn that your way. You know how I go. I don't care who it is. Like the Bengals could absolutely lose to the Dolphins. The Bengals, like I don't know. Like how the season unfolds, you never know, and people will try to look ahead as much as they want, but these games never go like what you think until you get into juggernaut status. It's like, okay, we could pack a bunch of these dudes up. But the Bengals, me being 100% honest, we're not at juggernaut status yet because we haven't reached the level of consistency. Juggernaut status is Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. When I get to that point, then I can look at the schedule and say, yeah, I'm going to wipe them. I don't look at any of those. I just think that we're a better team than 90% of the teams that we're going to play, 95% of the teams, and it could go either way. But I have no problem with the 11-6. Just get me to the playoffs, bro. And I'm telling you, now I'm going to cook. I don't care.
For me, for those listening at home, this is how Rank has it. He has them 11-6. He's got them winning week 1 against the Steelers, losing 2 to the Cowboys and the Jets. Then he has them winning against Miami, losing to the Ravens, winning against the Saints and the Falcons, losing to the Browns in the first matchup, winning against the Panthers, winning against the Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, and Browns. That was that streak that Zim referenced for those listening. That he has them losing against the Bucks. He has them losing against the Patriots, and then 2 wins, weeks 17 and 18 against the Bills and the Ravens. For me, the only one that I disagree with, I don't disagree with the overall record. I think that they could potentially win one more game, right? I don't see them losing to the Jets, bro. Like, I just don't see that week 3. And that's just, you're just really, and I'm just saying that just because I don't like that loss there. I just don't see them, especially with Zach Wilson back. I actually believe I'm on record as saying that I wanted Zach Wilson to play when we faced them last year because he really struggled. I think he will struggle against that defense. Other than that,
I like Zach Wilson though, bro. I like him. Why y'all don't like Zach Wilson?
I think he's Baker.
What do you not like about his game?
I think that he's Baker 2.0. He throws a lot of interceptions. Okay. I'm just not seeing it, bro. Now I did talk to some Jets fans, got more further context into what was going on. He had his quarterback coach pass away. So I'm giving him a pass for that first season because they had to hurry and throw someone in there. That's a difficult situation for him to be in. He got hurt. So, yeah, I still think he can improve. But for me, he's just going to have to show me, bro. Like, the jury's still out on him for me. But outside of that, the other matchups, I don't have a problem with the way that they have them turning out. The interesting thing is he does have us sweeping the Steelers. I don't know how Sports Guru is going to feel about that one, but he's got the Bengals sweeping in that one. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and toss it to our new sponsors, Pierce Dental Group.
Pierce Dental Group is a place. I need a lot of you to go ahead and reach out. I know that if you're feeling like, hey, like, I don't feel that comfortable smiling in my pictures and stuff like that, now is the time to like change that and make yourself feel really good about it. It's 100% discreet. You can get a free virtual consultation. Just reach out to the people at Pierce Dental Group. Like I said, they've been downtown for over 80 years. They got a new office that they built in 2015, located at 425 Walnut Street, Suite 201 in Fountain Square. So you can go down there to Graders, go get you some ice cream, all of that good stuff. You're right there, right in the heart of Cincy. Confidence starts here. Go where the pros go. Go next level. Your smile is your brand. If you want to feel good when you're taking your pictures, you want to look back at your life and say, damn it, I look good in that picture. Start getting that smile together because that is key to anything in life. Smiling is super healthy, and you should feel really good about smiling in front of everybody that you love and the people that you don't love. Who cares? Just look good. Let's look good this year. This is Cincinnati. Let's look good. God damn it, I went to the gym earlier today. I'm going to look good. I'm going to take this damn shirt off this year. Once I get with Pierce Dental Group, I'm going to get my teeth together too, and I can't be beat then. I'm undefeated. My wife isn't going to know what to do. She'll faint. I don't know how we're going to make it through, like we're not going to make it through like a whole day like without touching each other once I get this smile together. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. And I'm looking forward to the Bengals versus the Cowboys. Let's talk about the strengths. I feel like some of their strengths have to deal with the defense, primarily the pass rush, things like that. I mean, this is a team I feel like, though, they had a lot of turnover in the offseason, right? They lost Randy Gregory. They lost Amari Cooper via trade. They brought back some guys. CeeDee Lamb is going to have to step into a bigger role. They're in an awkward situation, though, because I love Zeke, especially as an Ohio State fan. I'm not an avid Ohio State fan, so I don't keep up with them currently, but I definitely remember Zeke running through Alabama. He didn't look like that Zeke last year. There were moments where the backup running back looked a little bit better, and his contract was one of the reasons that they had to move on for Amari Cooper. Obviously, they moved on from Lyle Collins on that offensive line, which surprisingly has been somewhat of an issue. So I think if you talk about the strengths, I think that they're on defense for me. I think that obviously the quarterback, Dak Prescott, I think he's a strength. Now, there has been some slander out there calling him Dink and Dak. I thought that was wild. But, yeah, there are some questions there. But I like Dak Prescott for me. So I think he's one of their strengths, and I think the defense is. I would say Zeke, but like I said, he's kind of not that Zeke that we're used to seeing. So what are some of the strengths for you, Zim, in terms of the Cowboys?
I think that is beyond serviceable. I know a lot of people like to chalk it up as, like he's just a server. I think he does more than that at a lot of different points in the season. They were at the top of the list as far as like yards. I love what they offer from them. I do agree they lost, some key pieces. I think CeeDee Lamb probably takes a step backwards because now he's seeing everybody's number one. I do like, DeMarcus Lawrence a lot. I thought
what do you mean, Zim? You don't think James Washington is going to take some of that coverage away from CeeDee Lamb? He's not going to do that. The former Steeler, he's not.
Shout out to our boy Elliot. I'm gonna tell you, when I first met Elliot called my phone one time. He said, "James Washington, the Bengals better get him." And so I've been hearing about Elliot. Probably don't remember this, but he's been telling me about James Washington for the last 5 years of my life. And James Washington, I'm here to tell you, is never produced at the level.
He's trash. Hey, Elliot, if you're watching this, James Washington is trash.
We're gonna see if Elliot is really a good friend. If he hits me my phone tonight, I'm be like, all right, bro, you're really watching the show. But I like the Malik Hooker, deal. There's some stuff. There's some pieces. I think, there's some pieces that I do like on the team. I just think that they lost more than they acquired, and that's my overall take on them. I hated what they did in the draft. Absolutely hated in the draft. I just think that they're ready they're almost like borderline a reboot at this point if this season goes bad. You talked about Ezekiel Elliott. They need to put respect on his name. Since 2017, he is the second leading rusher in the National Football League, only behind Derrick Henry. The caveat to that is the arthritis issue that's going on with him. I fear is like starting to be a real problem in Tony Pollard. And you start talking about the cap hit that he's got. There's a lot of different things like associated with the Ezekiel Elliott thing, but Tony Pollard looks to be like the guy that's probably going to take the next step like after that because he does not look the same. So fantasy owners, beware. I do not think that Dallas can do anything with the Bengals. I'm hoping I could go to Jerry World. I know my schedule is looking a little crazy, but you know me. I'm trying to go there and pack it out. I'm trying to blow down Jerry World. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna put them boys in the air. Then we're gonna come to the spaces and we're gonna put them in the dust and put them in the air and be like, oh. And then I don't know what to tell you. Like that's the most love I could give you. The Cowboys. They aren't trash. I think the division. Their division took a step.
What are some of their weaknesses that make you feel like they're trash?
The offensive line.
I don't feel like they're trash, but
they're not trash. They're not trash. I think the one thing that's hurting them is that I look at the Giants, who their defensive front really stepped. There's a lot of things that the Giants did this past offseason that I think are going to shock a lot of people, primarily on defense. And then when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles getting to the cream of the crop of the division, I just think it just puts them in a bad position where now they're looking at probably third place in the division. They always run into a hard test with the Commanders. So I just don't see how they can come up. Now, like I said, it's any given Sunday. You never know how it goes, but Dak Prescott is no scrub. I don't consider him a system quarterback. I just don't believe in him when it comes to like playoff football or anything like that. But outside of that, I think they'll make, they're a 7-win team, and that's not trash, but it's a mini reboot.
I think that their biggest weakness is outside of, I kind of talked about some earlier. I think the biggest weakness is the head coach. I mean, I think Mike McCarthy has gotten away with some criminal activity as a coach there. Obviously, he couldn't cut it for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers wanted him out. And I feel like he's kind of underperformed with some of the weapons that they've had there. I think the return on investment that they expected from him hasn't been achieved, right? I don't think that we've seen Dak Prescott, take a step. Now, obviously, he got hurt, I believe his first season there as the head coach, but they haven't moved the needle for me. I mean, this was a team in the Cowboys that were really in contention a few years ago for a Super Bowl. I think a lot of people felt like that. It started with Dak, it went to Zeke, and then you had a special thing going there with Amari Cooper. Then you added CeeDee Lamb to it. It just hasn't really cashed out. They had the offensive line there. A lot of those pieces are going from the line now. So I think that that's one of their weaknesses. I think they're a solid team. I could see them winning more than 7 games. I could see them winning, 9 to 10 games over there, depending on how that division plays out. But I just don't see it as, this is it. I could see this being a season where McCarthy is on the hot seat, especially in it being in Dallas where the expectations are high. But without that, what matchups do you like? There's going to be Chase versus Diggs, which I think everybody's going to be talking about. You're talking about Zeke versus Jermaine Pratt. You got La'el Collins versus his former old team, and he's going against Micah Parsons there and potentially Dexter Lawrence. Then you got Reeder and Martin and Dak versus Logan Wilson. What are some of those that you're looking forward to?
Is Jamar Chase and Diggs? I got to cook that boy. I got to put him in the blender. What you mean? Like, right. At the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you another one though. La'el Collins with Parsons coming off that, all the
that's a spicy one.
That is a spicy one. That's got some Creole season on it. Like when we gotta head to New Orleans, we might put some Creole on that boy head on that game. But aside from that, I cannot lie. Like I gotta see if Diggs is the playmaker that they say, and he's taking chances. Like I feel like he's Marcus Peters reincarnated, right? I'm gonna take out the young version of him, with Diggs, and then we'll go cook up Peters later. But that's 100% what I want to see. But I think La'el Collins is gonna be out for blood, and I think they'll make a point. And if I know Joe, he'll call some stuff specifically to get La'el out in space, and that's what they don't want.
And that's what they don't want. For me, I'm gonna go with one that I didn't list, but it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott versus the Bengals run defense. This was a stingy run defense last season. Obviously, the last time that they played Zeke, he has had some pretty good games against them. But now I think that this run defense has really transformed into one of the best ones in the league. So I'll be looking forward to see how they put Zeke down, especially early in the season where he's coming in with fresh legs, right? Like if this were a late season game, then he probably gets away with the excuse that he doesn't have fresh legs or something like that. But that's one of the ones that I will be looking forward to, along with, like you said, the La'el Collins and the Chase and Diggs. But next, we're going to toss it to –
real quick, I wanted to say this. I thought an underrated signing that they had is low risk and high reward is the Dante Fowler Jr. Deal that they did too.
Yeah, that was a guy that I wanted, that I texted you about a lot. I was like, the Bengals need to get him. So
I was sick when his name.
Yeah, for sure.
I was sick.
For sure. But yeah, we'll go ahead and toss it to our sponsor of the show, Midwest Best Barbecue.
Wings, and we stock you with them on our wings. On our wings, they tell me that them on our wings will make you do the gritty. Them on our wings will make you do the gritty. On our wings, on our
Shout out to our partners out there in Loveland, Midwest Best Barbecue, located at 669 Justice Court over in Loveland. Make sure you get you some of those Uno wings. They got the Grippo wings. They got all kinds of flavors. I saw someone out there tweeting on Twitter, like, where is the best place to get wings in the city? I'm doing a top 5 list. You got to have Midwest Best Barbecue on there. I didn't even tweet them. Greg Luther had already tweeted him, a friend of the show. So shout out to Greg for spreading the knowledge and the taste buds of Midwest Best Barbecue and putting people on, because my dad actually goes there a lot. He goes to Midwest Best Barbecue as well to check up on Tim and the gang. So if you're in the Natty, you're looking for some wings, or if you're coming for a game, be sure to stop by Midwest Best Barbecue. But Zim, we're talking about top 10 wing lists and stuff like that in the Natty. Let's talk about CBS's AFC quarterback rankings list, where they ranked all 16 quarterbacks in the AFC. Me personally, they tried to kind of save themselves by putting Burrow in the top 5. I just don't agree that he's, ranked lower than Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. And for those that are listening, they have it as Patrick Mahomes number 1, Josh Allen 2, 3 Herbert, 4 Wilson, 5 Burrow, 5 Lamar Jackson. 6 Lamar Jackson, 7 Deshaun Watson, 8 Derek Carr, 9 Ryan Tannehill, 10 Matt Ryan, 11 Mac Jones, 12 Trevor Lawrence, 13 Tua, 14 Kenny Pickett, which is, 15 Zach Wilson, and 16 Davis Mills. Zim, I'm going to toss it to you. What are your thoughts on this list, bro?
As much as I love spreading the gospel of number 9, Burrow 316 to the day I die, it doesn't make me like, I'm never upset when somebody doesn't put him like in their top 5. I just know what I know. I think we see every single throw, we see every single thing. It depending on how you weigh out your quarterbacks, Russell Wilson has done a lot for this league. So I'm not here to be like, Russell Wilson, like Russell Wilson, if you base it your top 5 off of what what a quarterback has accomplished, then Russell Wilson 100% could go in the top 5. But if we're looking at like currently right now, me having an NFL draft right now, you wouldn't go past pick number 3 to go and draft Joe Burrow. I mean, it'd be Pat Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow. I think Allen will come after that. For me, my list is a little bit different.
Yeah, my list is definitely different. I think there's an argument that Burrow could be number 1. I would give it to Pat Mahomes simply because of the Super Bowls. If you go to number 2, I'm going with Joe Burrow there just because he has 3 playoff victories. Josh Allen has a career playoff victory count of 3. He wasn't able to beat the Chiefs twice. Joe Burrow did that, right? And Joe Burrow has had an ascension that Josh Allen just has never had in his first 2 years, if we're comparing the two. Also, the fact that Brian Dable is stepping away, I'm not sure how that's going to affect him. He's still a great player, right? But I'm not sure. So I would put Burrow there. Then I would put Allen.
How do you put Herbert over Burrow? Make that make sense to me.
They lost to the Jaguars, so
they lost to the Jaguars. And what metric?
He's a great quarterback. I love Justin Herbert, but there's no way.
You know that Herbert? I know that quarterback rating is an outdated stat or whatever, but like he's not even top 10 like quarterback rating in the NFL. I think a lot of people are basing it off of projection and the fact that they just.
I like Herbert.
I love Herbert.
I love Herbert. Production,
but how could you rate him over him though? How?
Some of these guys have been to the playoffs that he's ranked over. I mean, Russell Wilson has a couple of Super Bowls, has been to the playoffs. Like, for me, though, like, I think Lamar Jackson has to be in the top 5. Like, as much as we talk about Ravens fans and this and that, like, Lamar Jackson is still a top 5 quarterback.
He doesn't have to be in the top 5.
Where he has to be in the top 5. Deshaun Watson is pretty close to that, too. He could be in the top 5.
He could.
Because when we last saw him, I mean, minus the off the field stuff, right? If we're just talking about the player, this dude just had like 4,800 yards. He had an MVP type season. And if you look at some of those numbers, even after that, if you talk about catchable passes and all of that, he was elite. So I think Deshaun Watson has an argument to be in there over Justin Herbert as well. But that's not a slight. I mean, a lot of these guys at the top are there. Things that stick out to me that don't make sense. I'm not sure if I'm putting Derek Carr at number 8. Like, and I'm not sure about Tannehill at 9. I think
how is Kenny Pickett above Davis Mills, considering Davis Mills' season this past season?
Davis Mills is like up and down. I'm not
Davis
even sure.
Mills got numbers, bro.
I'm not sure if I put
Kenny Pickett hasn't even picked up a
Kenny
football.
Pickett over Zach Wilson though. Like Zach Wilson coming out.
Are we just projecting?
I think if you had to draft today and it was Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett, I think people are taking Zach Wilson over Kenny Pickett. Like, I don't think that they're even close.
I'm mad at the Davis Mills, not the Kenny Pickett, bro. Like Davis Mills, Davis Mills had some games where he cooked 300, 400 plus.
He does, but
Kenny
sometimes
Pickett can't even hold the football. How do we even know he can hold it?
Sometimes I get Brian Hoyer vibes. I don't know. I get Brian Hoyer vibes from him a little bit. Not anything against him. I think he is underrated. I don't think Davis Mills would have stopped me from drafting the quarterback this year when they were like, we're good at quarterback. Like, I don't know if he would have stopped me from that. But Ryan Tannehill at 9, bro. That's got to change. Like, Matt Ryan, I think is better than him, has won an MVP. Mac Jones, I think you could make an argument he's better than him. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence for sure. If you gave me a choice right now, I think even if you gave the Titans the choice right now, Ryan Tannehill or Trevor Lawrence, they are taking Trevor Lawrence. Like I
will move Trevor Lawrence up to like 8, bro, because Trevor Lawrence has all the intangibles, everything that you need. He's just had a very bad start and
bad situation.
Bad situation. You said Lamar, you got to put him top 5. Considering the injuries, considering his playoff record, considering being 0-2 in the playoffs, like I don't have to put him top 5. He's a really good talent, but how do we define like anything in this league? When I come on here every single day of my life, they tell me, Zim, the Bengals don't have any hardware. Well, you're not really close to any hardware, Lamar. So at this point, I'm just like, you're a good regular season quarterback. Show me something.
Yeah, and I think for me, like with the Tannehill thing, this is not just to like slander him because he's been solid. I think he's just really on a downward trajectory. I mean, after that playoff loss that he exhibited there with that, they drafted his replacements. I'm not so sure how long he's going to really be a starting quarterback. He's kind of in that Tua tier a little bit for me. So that's where I'm going to leave him at.
Who you think throws a football further, me or Tua?
Tua. I mean, come on, man. He in the NFL. But nah, I get the joke though. But
it's no joke.
Tua,
if you're listening, I want smoke. Let's have a throw off. Not an accurate off, just a throw off. Tua, you listening today? If you're listening today, I want smoke. All right, I'm sorry, Ace. Go ahead.
Nah, but other than that, I just wanted to tease that next week we're going to be coming at you guys with our power rankings. There's a whole bunch of power rankings out there. We'll be hitting you guys with ours. And don't forget that the Wincinnati podcast comes at you every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern time. And then we also have had, I believe, the Bengals Post podcast just had a special Bengals guest on there for their show. Alan George, please be sure to check that out. Those guys do great content over there, and they're not the only ones. We got Jess Eric with the 513 podcast. He put up a nice content piece about Dax Hill and whether he's the replacement for Jesse Bates. Please be sure to circle on that. And then we got my man G Money that represents the new Wincy. So check him out as well, because we're going to come to you guys with all types of content. And if you're listening in your car, please leave us a 5-star review. I did hear you guys saying that I say the word facts too much. I appreciate that. I like the positive ones. I like the negative ones. That helps improve the show. That helps improve the quality. But we need your help with getting the word out. We need you guys to post us on social media, tag us, send this to your friends. We appreciate that. Leave those reviews. And then also follow the Wincinnati Twitter account at WincyPod or Wincinnati Pod on Twitter. Make sure that you follow that. And also follow me at New Stripe City and follow Zim at Zim Hude. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. But we appreciate you guys. And we're going to end this with multiple facts. And we are out of here, and thank you guys for listening.
Hello, world. We got a special show, as always. TJ Wincinnati, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
How do you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? Need your top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time? Shock the world.